clean up some stuff. Oh, the camera's crooked. 1 second. Let's make it a little louder. Ooh, that's good. Can you see me real good? I feel like these lights are good enough. My hair's weird. Anyways, my name is Chloe and I've been doing nails for 19 years. This thing is choking me. I had it for a while. I've been doing nails for 19 years, and so welcome to my YouTube channel, and thanks for being here. So what I'm going to go over today is motivation for being a nail tech, a little bit about my journey so you can understand sometimes everything doesn't go perfect. I always wanted to do nails since I was little. Always. I'm originally from Detroit and I'm located in San Antonio, Texas right now. That's where I live, but from the beginning, there was opposition from my parent, just my dad. My mom was like, you can do whatever you want to do. My dad was like, you'll never make any money doing nails. So you don't know me, but if you know me, you already know. Challenge accepted. I'm never going to make money doing nails. 19 years later, I haven't been employed by a person or a company outside of doing UGC in, I don't know, 10, 15 years. 10, 15 years. So when I wanted to go to nail school in Detroit, what you can do as a high schooler is you can go to Votech school, and my dad wouldn't sign a paper. And this was the 80s, so it wasn't like my mom was all like, go against your dad. She was just like, respect to my mom, one, because it was different times, right? So I'm not mad, no mad at all. So I went to college and I graduated from Eastern Michigan University with my degree in, oh shoot, it's been a long time. My BS, I like to call it my bullshit, degree in apparel, textiles, and merchandising. And I used to work in fashion. And when I say in fashion, I don't mean like in fashion. Like I wanted to work in fashion, but what I ended up doing was working in retail stores. So I did Neiman's, Target, and Walgreens as assistant manager in their manager training programs. It was terrible. Working retail is awful. Customers are awful and have bad attitudes. And I was just like, this is not gonna be my whole life. So after I got out of that, I got out of retail by going back and getting my master's in strategic business management, and I worked 2 jobs during that time. So I worked part-time at a salon on the weekends. My best friend, her auntie owned a salon and she hired me. And then during the week I worked at a school, like a career and technical school, doing the financial aid paperwork, and then I would, get my master's. And so that was cool. Loved it. And I still stayed doing nails part-time. I went to nail school my last year of undergrad. I had to pay out of pocket because you could not get financial aid at 2 schools, right? And so I had to pay out of pocket for nail school, and I didn't have a car. And so the nail school and my college were like 30 minutes away. So on the weekends, I would rent a car and go the weekend, like from Friday all the way. So Friday and Saturday is when I was really getting my hours. So Saturdays you can go all day and get majority of your hours. And that was my last year of undergrad at Eastern, and I went to a school. It's closed now, but it was called Outta Beauty School, and it was in Westland, Michigan. That's how much I wanted to do nails. Like, it pretty much when I got to college, I was like, this is cool, but I still want to do nails. And so I just had to wait like the first 3 years because I didn't have no money. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't have no money. I was broke. And I didn't come from like a family with a bunch of money or whatever stacked up. I'm the oldest of 3. So fast forward, I went to nail school, I got my license, and then I'm working part-time at a career and technical school doing financial aid and finishing up my master's degree. And I was like, okay. So I stayed working with the part-time job, doing nails on the weekends and then after work because it was just a Monday through Friday joint. And then sometimes like they end up getting new managers and they're like, oh, well, sometimes you're going to have to come in on Saturday because the school was failing on like a national level. So they were trying to get us to come in on Saturday because they figured if you come in on Saturday, we can get more people and blah, blah, whatever. And what ended up happening is I ended up getting laid off from that job. So I started doing nails full time. And clientele was building up in Detroit. I liked it. But my issue with Detroit is it's cold. That's the only reason I moved to Texas was because it's cold in Detroit. So I had visited Texas for my birthday one year. My birthday's in October, and it was warm on my birthday. It was like 86 degrees, and I was like, say less. So in the middle of me getting ready to do a transfer, because that's what I was going to do. I was going to transfer with the company that I was working with. I would do because they had locations in San Antonio, and I was going to transfer, and then I got laid off. I was like, So I got laid off, and I was like, I'm still moving. Moved to Texas. Of course, some family came with me. I had a little family here or whatever. But my goal was like self-sufficiency, being self-sufficient, and being on my own. So I worked I worked full-time at another school, but it was trash. Like the hourly pay down here is way less than Michigan, because Michigan is like unionized and they got factories. Even the technology was different. So when I worked at the company in Michigan, which I didn't end up getting hired with them in San Antonio because they had laid me off. So they were cutting staff anyway. And this was in 2010. They were cutting staff anyway. I ended up working for another company that did the same thing, and they pay way less. And my manager, no shade to people who only graduated from high school, but she didn't know how to use Excel, and she was my manager, and I had a master's degree, and I was like, oh, this is not gonna fly. Then she kept talking about, well, I need you to train XYZ, blah, 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 and I was like, because y'all don't even pay me really to show up. So I'm definitely not about to be training, especially if you ain't got that cash. And so I was like, all right, fine. And I quit that job. I ain't had nothing else lined up. But I'm under the 100% impression that everything I want to do is going to work out for me any kind of way. I started working part-time at a salon that was close to that job, and it was terrible. The manager wouldn't get supplies in. She wanted me to be there all these weird hours, and I let her know, like, listen, I got a job. Like, she wasn't doing no advertising for the salon. It was just a really beautiful salon, but they didn't have the stuff that we needed. Like, she wanted you to bring your own stuff. And in the middle of this, like, I'm getting a place with my parents, and I hadn't lived with my parents since I was like 18. So I got like a little turmoil in the background with my parents, because you know sometimes when you realize like, oh, these people wasn't doing what they thought they was doing with their money when I was younger, and then you figure it out, you like, bro, what is up? So I'm like, I got that in the background. I'm paying a lot of bills over here. I had some money stacked up because I grew up poor, so we gotta stack up our coins. We gotta have everything ready. My forehead is looking real big. This is real ADHD, and I apologize for that. But we need to get the story out so that when I release other videos, you gotta be like, you gotta understand that I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. So at this point, I done relocated to San Antonio. I have a part-time job, and I'm trying out the salon gig. I'm still getting my hair done because I'm from Detroit. I always get my hair done. So I go to JCPenney's and I get my hair done. And the young lady that does my hair is from North Carolina. So she's from North Carolina, and I ended up coming on 1 week where she had got her paycheck, and she had been doing hair for years. Like when I tell you, sis was bomb. But like the JCPenney hair bill, my service ticket was only like $30, $40. And I was like, I usually pay $70 to get my relaxer and blah blah whatever. What is this $34? She was like, that's their prices. And I was like, you can't change their prices. She was like, nah. So her, me, and another girl that was also getting, I probably shouldn't have said their name, was also not making the coins. I mean, like they had them working on their toes. We're opening a salon, but this is what happened first. So I had applied over there, and I got a job as a manicurist there, but I still could only do it like on the weekends because I was working at the school. And I had been there 2 weekends total. So when I came in that second weekend, the salon manager, she was like, oh, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. She was like, you're bringing the whole salon down. I was like, the whole salon down? Like, I'm here 2 days a week. Like, I'm here Saturday and Sunday. How is I'm bringing the salon down? Like, I barely just started. That was the first mistake. I was like, she's talking to me kind of crazy. Like, I'm not a full grown adult. Like, I'm not bringing the salon down. Okay, cool. So then fast forward, the client that I had on that Sunday, because that was a Saturday, that Sunday, right after that Saturday, I come in and the client ain't on my book no more. So I look and I'm like, I had already had that area set up, the pedicure area set up, because I was getting ready. I knew my client was coming. She was just getting like a manicure and a pedicure. So my client come. I'm waiting for the client to come, and I look over, and then one of the stylists was like, "Oh, they put her on my book." And I'm like, "Who is they?" Because they usually mean I messed with the stuff. So I was like, okay, they did. She was like, "Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry, blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, okay, no worries." So the client comes in. I'm gonna pause for dramatic effect. But the client comes in, like this lady was working on somebody's hair, and she finishes the hair. The client comes in. She was like, "Oh, they said you weren't gonna be here." I was like, "You know what? My schedule had changed, and then I was able to be here. But don't worry about it." She's like, "They put me on somebody else's book." I was like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's cool. It's cool. She'll be with you in a moment." So I waited because I'm a professional, if nothing else, and also, just, they wasn't running no coins for me to be up in arms about this one lady. Okay, I was just mad that I had drove all the way over there and got dressed and everything for like what would have been $8 or $9 in my pocket after all the work. So when they take that lady back to go do her services, I packed up all my stuff because they didn't have all the stuff either. They had some of the stuff. Even the store manager was like, "Oh, I wish we can get you in more hours." And I was like, "You want to get me in here more hours, but you don't even have enough clients to do that. And you got these other stylists taking people off your book and putting them on other people's book and talking about they. Who is they?" Fine. When she took old girl back to do her pedicure, sis, I packed up all my stuff, put that badge on the desk, and told the receptionist I'm not coming back. That salon manager called me like 4 times. Just kept calling me, and one day it was 4 times, and she just kept calling me. "Oh, I really wanted to talk to you, girl. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want to talk to me. Let's save both of us the foolishness that's about to go down on this phone call. You do not want to talk to me." So that was done. And so I hit up old girl that does my hair. She was like, "Let's get a salon suite together." And I was like, "Yeah, okay," because whatever, why not? Now keep in mind, I'm not working. I'm still living off my reserves. Like I'm working, but I'm not working. I had a car. I have a car, but I end up having to get another car, and the payments was low because I went through Capital One. Capital One was legit on the auto loan. Like it was cheap, and I ended up getting an inexpensive car from CarMax. Just like because I'm not gonna say I'm not a flashy person. Like I've never bought like a brand new car. Like eventually I will probably buy a brand new car, but I've never bought a brand new car, and I'll always buy a car that fits what I want to pay. So if I'm about to get this 2-door spec because I only want to pay 250, 300 a month, then that's what I'm gonna get, and I'm gonna roll with it until, because sometimes you gotta sacrifice some stuff, and I didn't want high bills while I was paying like a lot of the stuff at the house when I was with my parents. Okay, so we get the salon suite together, and it's good, it's popping. But we next to like this restaurant, and the smell was, and the bugs was, so we left, and we got our own building, and that was fantastic. And my clientele was slowly building up. Instagram had really just started at this point. I had Facebook, so I started with no clientele down here. And so I was getting people from the hairstylist, and then when the walk-ins would come and blah blah, so that started working for me. But what ends up happening is, I don't know, some kind of way everything kind of slowed down a little bit for all of us, right? And it wasn't terrible. Like we were still making things, like making the bills, but it wasn't a whole lot of extra left over. And I was like, something got to change. The one young lady, she gets this. Her husband was in the military, so they had to leave. They had to go to Japan. He got restationed. And so we always paid our rent on time. And something that happened in New York where everything had flooded in New York. And so the owner of our actual building came to San Antonio and was like, "Well, I can't do nothing in New York because my townhouse is flooded, blah, blah." So I thought I'd come down and look at my properties and whatever. And so he came, and this was before cell phones had like good GPS and like good Wi-Fi, right? This is like the BlackBerry with the keyboard. So he came, and he was trying to get to somewhere, but he had never been here before. Like he literally just owned a bunch of buildings in San Antonio and lived in New York. Like he was like a little bitty man. And so when he came, he was like, "Oh, how do I get here?" And I'm like, "Okay, hold on, I'll show you." And I showed him how to get wherever, and I showed him on his phone how to do it. And he was like, "Dang, you should work for me." And I'm like, I don't want to work for nobody. I want to work for myself. So when it came time for her to leave, me and the other young lady, like we could possibly afford to keep the shop together if we got some more people working. but some of them people was acting kind of shady. And then her and I were like not really even emotionally there enough. Like we didn't have the cognizance to know like, okay, we can do this, this, and this to make this pop. Like we were both brand new to like owning our own space. So we knew we couldn't really take care of it. Our mind wasn't there yet, right? Mentality is all, it's all about that, but our mind wasn't there yet. And that's fine. So we sent the old boy that owns the building, who we had our lease with, and we was just on year 1 of the 3-year lease. And like I told you before, everything worked out for me. And we tell him like, listen, she's going to Japan because her husband's in the military, and the two of us can't afford it by ourselves. Blah blah. So we need to find out what kind of fees we need to pay to get out the lease, and blah blah, whatever. He sends us back an email. No, he calls us and he was like, "You guys always pay on time." And I was like, "We were like, yeah." He was like, "Yeah. So just let me know what day you're not gonna be able to be in the spot no more, and you guys are good." And we're like, "Well, how much we have to pay?" He said, "Nothing. You always pay on time." Cool. So then I was like, well, snap. I need to find another place to work. So I find another salon to work at. And it wasn't close to my house, but it was closer than where we were, right? It wasn't close to my house, but it was closer than where I was at the spot that I was owning with my 3 buddies. And we're all still cool. Like, it was no animosity, no, nothing built up in our chest about it. Like, we cool. Like, the one girl, she still does my hair. I do her nails. So I go and start working at this other salon, and I start over there, and I have to bring all my own stuff, and it's commission, and it's sliding scale commission. And I have worked sliding scale commission before, but this was different. It was shady. So they do the sliding scale where you 0 to 200, you make a certain amount of percentage, and then 201 to this, you make a different percentage. But that's not how she explained it in an interview. But I had took the job already. So after a few weeks of me getting these, like me doing $1,500 in service sales, because all my clientele was my own. They didn't give me squat. After a few weeks of that, I was like, listen, and keep in mind, my cash reserve is getting low, and I got like I need to make sure I can cover my bills before I worry about really trying to like get my own space. But I just what I tell them. And all at this point in time, also my baby brother had moved to China and was living in Beijing, China, right? And my baby brother is like my favorite. He has passed on, but he was my favorite. And so he moves to China, and I'm like, I gotta go see him. So I tell this lady, listen, y'all taking a lot of my money, and the salon suites is over there, and I know I can pay a flat rate and then have my own suite. I don't have to worry about none of this stuff. Like some of the girls, like their kids had come to the shop. This supposed to be a luxury salon. They had a party. They was in my stuff, touching my stuff. Like I had all my own stuff, and it was pissing me off. Like, don't touch my stuff. One of the girls stole one of my drill bits, and I never got it back. And he was like, we don't know what happened. Like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. So in any case, after I tell them like, yo, about the commission or whatever, she's like, well, I'll give you 50%. Could have did that from the jump, but okay, cool, because I was bringing in bank. So she give me 50%, and I just keep working, juggle along, building that clientele while I don't have the expense of having to take care of full-blown salon. Now I'm still ordering my own supplies, but like it keeps my expenses a little bit lower. My clientele, majority of them all follow me. It wasn't a big deal. 10 months in, I'm like, this ain't the business. It's too far of a drive. I don't want to be in rush hour traffic in the morning. Sometimes when I got there in the morning, me and my clients there, and the girl to open, she ain't there. And I'm just like, I'm working 5 days a week. I've never wanted to work 5 days a week ever in my life, but I'm working 5 days a week. Okay, cool. So I tell her like, oh, I'm going to take a trip, and I'm going to go to China and see my brother, because it's my baby brother. I'm the oldest. I always gotta go. I will always go check on him and see where he is, where he's at, what he's doing, how he's feeling, whatever. Because we talk on Skype. But I just wanted to go check on him. So I had like a 401k from when I worked for Walgreens as a manager, and had some money in there. And I was like, takes the money out, buys the ticket to China, gets all of that stuff together, goes over there and sees him. Before I went, I had already found me a salon suite. I had all my clients. They had my personal phone number anyway, because I would book their appointments. I told them like, this is where our appointments is gonna be, blah blah. This is it. I had got the furniture that I was gonna use. It's a very small space. I'm gonna find a picture of it and put it here and show you like when I first started space. And I went to China for 14 days and checked on my brother. We had a good time. Went to the Great Wall. Did like so many things. It was fantastic. Went to Tiananmen City. They don't speak a lot of English. People are kind of rubbing on you. Very weird because they're like haven't seen a black person before, and so they're like, and I'm just like, don't touch me. Stop rubbing me. It's weird. Taking pictures with random people. And when I came back, I was like, oh, Friday gonna be my last day. Listen, you work a commission-based salon. Do not tell them what you gonna do. It's gotta be a sneak attack. You know why? Because they gonna lock you out of the computer, and that happened to 2 other girls. We're gonna leave too, and we're giving a 2-week notice. Every single state just about is an at-will state. You in a business where you make money whenever you have a client in, and that client's coming to see you. And contrary to proper belief, clients like to see who they like to see. But a lot of like salons and stuff want to say, oh, these clients are ours. Like, but if I leave, not one of them could do a 3D flower on any of these clients, and they're not staying here. So I get my salon suite, and it was small. Like there's another video on my page that shows how big this space is right now. This is $275 a week. The one I got first was $199 a week. Let me tell you something. I was in that salon suite every day but Sunday because the supply place was open on Sunday. So if I needed to go re-up on supplies, so I can go get it on Sunday. And I did that for like 4 months, clientele building. And one day I was paying all my bills, and I was like, why is there money left over in my account? And that was the moment when I was like, oh, you got this. You got this. Yeah. My clientele was built from nobody, nothing. I didn't have any friends in San Antonio. I had a few family members. They kind of came every now and again. But my clientele was built from nothing. But my faith was built from everything. Like it was always there. And I say all this to say that I learned a whole lot along the way. There's different things I tried, you know, the Groupons, and this, that, the third. Bunch of different marketing things and tactics and handing out flyers and cards. But the one thing that I never changed is I never stopped believing in myself. I might be sad one day like, man, there's not enough money in this account. But I was never like, I'm about to go get a full-time job. Anyway, even when I would say I was about to go get a full-time job, I would tell my brother, he said, don't do that to those people. Because you would be over there flipping them tables over talking about, I'm about to go do nails. He said, don't waste some people's time like that. He always said that. Don't waste some people's time. He was really great. So I'm saying all this to say, as a person who's been doing nails for 19 years, it hasn't been easy, but it hasn't been hard. And I never quit. And I would never quit. So watch this video, comment below, check out the resources below. I do have an ebook for nail techs. You straight out of beauty school, you have some trouble, you're struggling, you don't have the support, basically. Because I mean, like, I kind of had it, but I didn't really have it. Like, nobody was like, oh, Chloe, here goes like 10 G's to start their business, like, let's go. Nobody said that. It was basically like, yeah, this is all on you. If you really want to do this. I mean, I had some haters, and they lived in my own house, but I ain't listened to them. And it's very simple why I didn't listen to them. None of them have been where I'm trying to go. None of them. I don't have one single family member that's creative, that's like, oh yeah, cut, this is it, blah blah. Not in the old heads. The new, all the younger ones, they like, oh yeah, that, you know, you doing your thing. But them old, nah, if you don't go to college, it ain't gonna happen for you. I went to college. I learned a lot. I did learn a lot about managing business and growing, and it helps you think outside the box. But let me tell you something. I could have went to community college and been done. The 6 years that I did do, had a good time. I learned a lot. The bill for the 6 years, 100% do not recommend. Not in this day and age. You don't need it. Figure out another way to do it. take whatever your Pell is going to get you, like your Pell Grant or whatever, if you qualify, whatever that's going to get you. Start off community college first. They got ready to work programs in your state, do that. Career and technical school, do that. Skill-based careers is where it's at. Check out my resources below. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned for the next one. I'm going to try to do them like frequently, but I'm not going to hold you up. I do a lot of other stuff, which I will show you. But thank you for joining me for this one. Have a good one.